Hello YouTube, welcome back to my garage. So in this episode we're going to tackle the brake. I'm going to change the pad and rotors and also going to replace the line. So the first thing I did was open up the access cover. There's a hex bolt screw right here. What I went ahead and did is I sucked all the old fluids out. It was pretty nasty. I'll put a picture up here. That's because we're going to be replacing the line, so gonna have to bleed them anyways, and the old fluid was kind of dirty in there. So I already kind of went ahead and started doing the other side just to get an idea of what I'm into, but let's go ahead and tackle this. So the first thing is gonna take these studs out. If you guys have stock Elise, you'll have bolts, but I have a extended stud kit, and I found that gets in the way of removing this. And first, also these on both sides, they are stripped out. I clean them out, put a clean 4mm hex in there, but went ahead and rounded that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill them out instead. I did have to get some hardware from overseas, so it's going to take me a little bit to be able to button this up, but I got a replacement screw here. So let's go ahead and so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to remove these. I'm going to go ahead and drill that out, and then we're going to go ahead and work on removing the caliper. All right, so don't know what brand these are, but they are 7/16. So I'll go ahead and get these off. Make sure you get your emergency brake, disengage your emergency brake, otherwise you're going to have a hard time getting the caliper off. So these will get Loctite when I put them back. All right. So like I said, I already tried to get this out. Already failed. I tried to punch in torque. That also stripped. So I'm gonna go ahead and just drill these out and get a nice sharp drill bit. Okay, once that ring comes off, I think we're good. So I'm gonna put that back. So we got I believe it's a 17mm, the upper caliper bolt. So go ahead and okay. Okay. Okay, caliper bolt out. Also, we're gonna need a punch to remove the So the punch will come from the back side. I'm going to punch this caliper pin out. There you go. It's got a spring in here. Make sure that doesn't go flying. So we got a spring and pin. And then I believe you can pry a little bit. I'm going to be changing the calipers and pads and rotors. So I'm just gonna squeeze it in a little bit, give it some. Let's see. Yep, I was able to kind of work this out this way, and then feed this one off the back side here. So, okay. Oops. Stuck in there. Oops, there you go. Looks like I got plenty of pad left, but I'll go ahead and get those replaced. So once you're to this point, you can get the rotor off. Looks like I got a little bit left to drill, so I'm gonna. Okay. So once you get the rotor off, so this comes out easy once you get the rotor off. Okay. So once you're to this point, you basically pull it off the lower slide pin. And then after this, let's see if I get a shot of this. We're gonna disconnect the parking brake. Just push it in and get it over here. And then I think you rotate this, you'll turn it off. Okay. Now this is hanging by the hose. Now normally you wouldn't want to do this, but I'm going to be replacing that, so I'm not too worried about it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and disconnect this. I believe this is a 14 or a 15 millimeter. It is a 15. Okay. So should have probably knocked it loose when I had it mounted. Let's maybe get it mounted back on here so we have something to hit against. Okay. Okay, got that loose. So there might be some brake fluid coming out of here once I disconnect this, so I'm going to go ahead and go find something to catch it. Got a little cup. I'm going to go ahead and do this way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get that in the cup. So if there's any leaking fluid, you have to clean that up immediately. Okay, so one more part of the braid. So we're going to go ahead, put this off to the side. We're going to clean this up and inspect it. On the other side, basically I found that one of these boots are torn. Not an easy part to come by. This one looks fine. So I went ahead and ordered a new boot on that side. So I'm waiting on that for that to come. But I'm going to go ahead and put this off to the side for now. So, while I do that, there's a 10 millimeter that holds like a little hose, and that's where the brake line is held onto the lower control arm. Go ahead and take that off. Man, this brake fluid's kind of really dark, so I should have flushed it at least when I bought the car, but you know, I haven't been neglecting it since, so it's a good time to get everything buttoned up. Okay, so that's just a 10 millimeter little nut right here. Nut off. And then there's like a hose clamp situation, so I'm gonna squeeze that apart. There you go. So that comes off. Put that with the hardware. So we have a replacement hose. Looks like this. And all four are the same. So it appears that they have basically the same lines on all four corners. This one is braided. Looks like the factory one is like a rubber. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade while I have it doing everything. Go ahead and bleed it. Alright, let's see if I can get this done. So I think what we do, let's get the 17 millimeter in here, and then also get the 14 millimeter, and this is gonna break the connection here. Now when I do this, of course, now the leak is gonna be up here, so there is no paint underneath this connection, so it's going to drip onto my lift a little bit, but that's okay. We'll wipe it up real quick. So you can see this is where the hard line meets the flex line, and I'm going to go ahead and disconnect it first. Okay, so I'm going to put a paper towel underneath there, off camera. Okay, so now we're down to disconnecting the hose itself. So the hose itself, basically want to hold on to it with a 15 right there, and then there's like a backing nut. Oops. Let me do this way. Okay. Use that to hold. Okay. So Yep, once you get the backing nut free, you can back that off. Okay. Now there is this washer here, like a star washer. So got the old hose out. So while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and put the new hose on. I'm not going to tighten it until I put the caliper on. But so I got the hose end. I took the backing nut off. I'm going to use the new nut. So put that on there. Put that washer back on. Okay. And I'm going to put the new nut. Okay. Again, I'm not going to tighten this up, but I'm going to go ahead and connect everything. So I believe I want to thread the caliper on before and then do this last. So I'm just going to get that installed. So that's basically how you do the hose in the rear. Now there is a little bracket here that this clips on to the rear toe link, and then it zip ties, but the zip tie is like non-reusable, so I think we'll have to use normal zip ties, but I'll show you guys what it looks like. But yeah, so this little bracket is non-reusable. It would be nice if it was just like a socket or a slot, and then you can use normal zip ties. But go ahead and put this one away. And yeah, so that's the first part of the teardown of the rear. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of clean up everything here a little bit. This one's rusty, but that's okay. Once you put the rotor on, it'll be behind the rotor. So but yeah, let me gotta be a little bit till I get the hardware, and we'll continue on with putting everything back. All right, so I'm gonna put this one back. While I'm still waiting for some hardware, I can do some work. So first thing I want to do is clean that up. And I'm going to put a little bit of lube on it. This is brake part lubricant, so that I can slide this part on right here. Okay. While I'm waiting for the hardware, I'm going to go ahead and use a different bolt to hold this rotor in place. So you kind of have to do this together. So found a different bolt. I'm going to use this in the meantime. Okay, gonna use that to hold that in. You can kind of see that you have to kind of put this two together, because otherwise this won't come off by itself. So next thing you do is take a pair of pliers and you push this in, you rotate it in so you have some room. New pads. This one's EBC red. It's got a little bit of a coating on it. I'm gonna go ahead and load it up like so. Okay. Okay, and then you're gonna rotate it up. Okay, and then going to basically the top bolt in. Let's get the top bolt in. Okay, make sure these are on right. So we got the pin. The pin goes with the spring. So gonna go ahead and put this through the spring. And then the brake pad, gently tap it in. Okay. And then through the other brake pad. And then that goes through the spring as well. Oops, I kind of got it too far in. Let me back that up a little bit. Okay, gonna use the, there we go. Okay, and then gonna put the, okay, then the next thing is I'm gonna tighten this. Gonna check the torque on it. So there you go, pad's loaded. Gonna go ahead and connect the brake hose. Alright, so that's one rear caliper done. It is definitely, you do definitely need to connect the hose first. So get that hook connected and then connect it to there. And since I did not have one of those bracket, little weird zip tie brackets, I went ahead and just used a zip tie. Everything fits well. Make sure you clean everything. All the oil, all the grease on the brake rotor before you do that. And then hook the parking brake back up there. Since I have the parking brake off, it's really easy just to kind of pull this through and then hook it back on there. So, all right, so that's how you do a rear brake caliper, pads, and then the hose. So let's go to the front. All right, so wrapping up the rear, got this side done. So make sure you put this one bracket on, and this bracket, since the one we took out is not reusable, got to put a zip tie on there, and then obviously hook the handbrake on. So I got that put down, moved to the front. Let's see, got the front lifted up. This is a little higher than I'm gonna work on it, but let's go ahead and start doing this. So I think the hard part of this is going to be where the line connects. So first thing we're gonna do is let's see if these strip out first. And I actually impacted it before, so these came out fine. So we're gonna go ahead and get that out. That's a 4mm. If this didn't work, I actually had a little extractor nut kit that I bought to use, but I didn't have to do that. So next thing we're gonna do is on this one, it is a 8mm. So we're gonna put an 8mm on the caliper. See if these come out. Okay. And then one on the bottom here. Sure it's set up. Okay. And I believe when you get these two bolts out, oh, everything's gonna want to come out. Yep. Yep, so the front's pretty easy. It's unlike the rear, which is a sliding caliper, this one's a 2-piston. And get the brake off here. Let me put this down. Okay. So again, I'm gonna go, since we're gonna replace the hose, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the hose, and I'm gonna take this off to clean it and kind of reload the caliper. It looks like I have pretty good pads or pad life, but since I have it off, I'm just gonna go ahead and redo it. So at least the front and rear pads are the same. And then these, the pane would be, I think, would be the bleeding portion of this. Is going to be a little bit of a plane. So first we're gonna tackle the hose on both sides, and then we'll go ahead and attempt to bleed everything. All right, got that disconnected. This is a 15mm. I'm just gonna let that drip down in there. And I'm going to go ahead and lean that up. I'm going to clean it later and do the pads later. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. Alright, so to get to the brake lines, you have to get access under the front panel here. And you can see this is where we're going to get to. I think it's going to be fairly difficult. Oh, look at this. What is this? Oh. I thought that was a wrench, but so we're gonna have to get wrenches in here to unhook this, and then fish it out through, and then pop that off. Basically, this line right here. So I got this panel off. Let me show you how to do that. I already took the quick access panel off, but essentially you're gonna be removing this little grill. Got a hex little socket. And then this sort of, you got little clips right here. It also, so you kind of work it through right there. Okay. And once you get in here, I'm gonna leave that right there for now. Once you get in here, there's a couple more. So you gotta take these guys out. Washer. Once you remove this, this side is probably harder than that side, because I can't even see where it's at gonna be. Oh, it's right here. So there's like a AC line in the way here. I think I might be able to remove the foam, but yeah. Also this side may be able to sneak through back here, whereas the driver's side, there's more access through the hole there. So let me line up some wrenches and see how we're gonna attack this. Alright, let's try to do the easy side first. So got something to protect the fender. So what you need is a 15 millimeter to hold this side, and then a 14 to go on the hardline side. And I think you gotta clock it so it's correct. Let's see, so this one, probably do one of these. And then I wanna break this one first. After that, there is a 17 millimeter holding everything in. So let's see if this comes off easy. So I'm gonna hold this wrench. Okay, looks like that broke easy. So from here on, I'm just gonna do the flipping the wrench and totally slowly getting it out. So this may be a little tedious, but at least it's coming off. You know, I expect there to be a little bit of brake fluid in there, but there's no paint down there, so we'll just clean that up afterwards. So, yep. Oops. But we'll slowly back that off. All right, once I got it kind of loose, I'm able to put my finger back there and then back that nut off. Just work it with my fingertips there. Okay. It would take forever if I did. All right, now we're disconnected. So the hard line is now loose. Let's see here. There you go. See. So I already kind of backed this off a little bit, but the 17 millimeter looks like I can work that with my finger as well. So, and that 17 millimeter keeps the brake line. All right, so after I get that out, okay, I should be able to pull the brake line loose, and that is the case. Looks like there's a little washer in there as well, so I'm gonna pull that out, and the brake line comes out. All right, so let me make sure I get the 17 millimeter. I think I have a new one that comes with the line, 17 millimeter. And then that washer that's in there, let me see. There you go. So this side was not hard at all, just a little fidgety. I bought these thin wrenches that I thought was gonna help, which I don't need it for this side, but we'll see on that side. So let me get the new line in. All right, now to the passenger side. It may be hard to see, but there's a AC line, looks like, in the way. There's some more AC lines, and the access hole is over here. On that side, we didn't have all this, so I'm gonna try a little something different. I got these stubby wrenches, and I'm gonna try to see if I can sneak in through here instead on the back side. And let's see. So I got a 15. Now this one I don't really need a stubby wrench. But go ahead and put one in there. And then I'm gonna try to sneak in here and make sure I break it through this hole right here. Oh, yep, and we got it. Now it broke free, but I'm gonna have to do flip the stubby wrench around and then get it. Okay, now after that, there you go. Now that wasn't too bad. Now, okay, so I got the brake line nut off. So the second one is I'm going to need a 17 millimeter to go and break the backing nut off. So I'm going to try that again. Okay. Okay, yeah, looks like we're in good shape. So I don't know if what happens if this rounds out, or you know, if it doesn't come off this easy. You guys may struggle a little bit more if you try this job. And I mean, right here I do have to kind of flip the stubby wrench around a bunch while in this cavity, and at least till it breaks free where I can get it off my hand. So nope, so not quite able to get it off by hand yet. But I'm not gonna bore you guys with this, but looks like we'll just keep working it from the back here till we get it off. All right, so I was able to get that loose. Now let's pull from the bottom. Okay, got the brake line out. Make sure I get the backing nut. Backing nut, and then somewhere in there's that, okay, washer. So perfect. All right, so I got both calipers here, front calipers. I kind of wiped this down a little bit, but let's do one at a time. Looks like there is some clips that you need to take off. See clips. Okay, and then does look like I need a hammer to drive that out. All right. So goes out this way. Let's do them both. Okay. Let's get that. Looks like there's some. Go ahead and get that out all the way. Okay. So get that out. Looks like the clip comes loose. Make sure we'll keep everything back in the same orientation it came off. Okay. Looks like there's this spring plate. Make sure we'll go back like that. And then the pads just kind of come out. So, compared to a new pad, I say we're, I don't know if you count this as being a full pad, but yeah, it looks like maybe we're half gone. So, I'm gonna go ahead and drive the pistons in. I got a little C-clamp. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can use this. Looks like I can. So go ahead and, whoops. Okay, make sure you got some towels. Okay, I'm just gonna drive him into that brake fluid bleeder. And same with this side. Pretty dark fluid, so all right. So now the piston is in all the way. Should be able to, I'm gonna go ahead and clean everything a little bit before I assemble everything. There is Now, when I was buying the stuff from Elise Parts for the dust boots, there is this little strip that I think they were selling, and it wasn't expensive, so I went ahead and added on. But I believe these are supposed to go like right here on each side. Obviously there's none here, but I'll post a link of what these are, but I believe they're supposed to go on like that surface. Now, if that is the case, I didn't buy enough because I only bought them for one side. It's called the anti-rattle buffer pad. So knowing that I only bought enough for one, I might not install these, but let me know if you guys do this job, if you end up putting these in. I might just save these. The EBC pads do come with this backing plate that I think sticks onto the back here, so I'll be installing those and then getting the pads back in. So I'm gonna pause this, and I'm going to go ahead and get everything cleaned up and then do the other side and show you guys how to put everything back in. So upon cleaning up, I do see that there are some of these pads left in there, but so I think it only gets installed on one side, and these look good, so I'm not gonna peel them off and replace them. So I cleaned up everything a little bit, and let's get the new pads installed. So went ahead and got the backing plate on there, just cleaned up and peeled off and stuck on. So let's see if I can get these in. So they go like that. Let's see if there's actually these all appear to be the same. This is a front pad kit. They all appear to be the same, so they just get installed. Now just get this in here for now. I believe I will need to get the front in first. Okay, and then should be able to do that. All right. Okay. Okay, make sure to tap these in all the way. Then get the new clips in there. Let's see, we probably want to rotate this a little bit. Something like that. All right, so that is one changed out. So I am going to want to, I was trying to think if it's easier to put this hose on the car first and then thread it onto here. And I think it's going to be easier to put the hose on the car first because you know, with this we can physically rotate this as it's being mounted. It may regret that, but I'm going to go ahead and rebuild the other, or re-put pads on the other side, and then maybe wipe this down a little bit, and then go install the hose. All right, so let's do the hard side first. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the brake hose through the wheel well. Up where it goes. Okay. So then we got to put these on. Okay. Let's try that again. So we got this like tooth washer. Slip that on. Okay. Then we got a backing nut, 17 millimeter. So I think it is definitely better to put this on before the caliper, because at least on this side I have to manipulate the other side of the hose, and it would be kind of hard to do with the caliper hanging off of it. I think I should probably tighten up the 17 millimeter first, because of course once I have it on there I won't be able to and then okay, I think that's tight enough. And then we'll get the hard line on. So making sure I don't cross thread it. I'm gonna wiggle it a bunch of times while I use my fingertips to. All right, that's as tight as I can go with my finger. So I'm gonna put the stubby in there. And then I think I do need to have a 15 millimeter in there as the backing, and I tightened the 14 millimeter. All right, so this side is in. Let's go do the other side. So same thing. Feed it through. Going to put the washer in. Since I'm coming from the top, I'm gonna use a needle nose plier. Place the washer in there. And then gonna place the backing. And on this one, let's see if I can just rotate the hose. Oh, maybe not. But okay, so pretty easy there. Got it on. Just gonna spin it with my finger. Okay. Gonna put a 15 millimeter right there. And I'm going to tighten the backing nut. Okay. And the last part is to get the hose on. All right, so that's as tight as I can go. So now, back to the 14 millimeter. I'm gonna put the 15 up here, and then better feeling than the other side as far as knowing it's when it's tight, because I don't have to work with my fingertips. So yep. All right, so we're done with the hoses. All right, so got the new caliper on, or got the new rotor on. Make sure you degrease it before you put it on. There's a hole that lines up with where the old brake caliper or brake rotor screw goes into. So I'm going to put that in there. I don't think these need to get Loctite or anything. That holds that in there. Going to make sure this goes into this clamp. So on the factory one, there's like a section where the hose is discontinued, but on this one you just have to kind of split that, and then the 10 millimeter nylock nut goes on. Okay. Get that 10 millimeter on there. Oops. All right. These, I think this is the ABS line. Now, the old one the clips got cracked a little bit, so I'm gonna replace them with some zip ties. This one's not cracked. Well, it is. So replace these with some zip ties. Okay. And I think one back there also needs to be replaced. And I'll come and cut the heads off of that. So next thing we need to do is gonna have to, whoops. So all right, let's do that again. There we go. So All right, now this is tight, so I want to put a 14mm wrench on there. Now, if you guys put the piston back enough, this should slip on, and it does. So, what I'm gonna do is put one of the radial bolts back in. All right, got everything buttoned up together. So that is going to be it for the brake job and brake line replacement. Now, of course, we gotta bleed the brakes. I'm gonna make that into another video. I think with this car, you start with the clutch, the rear brakes, and then the front brakes. Now, the front brakes are gonna be a little trickier. If you guys notice, there's one line coming in, but it's a dual piston with the crossover line located on the bottom. So I believe with this, it gets a little tricky with trying to get all the air out of the system. And I think it's a situation where you gotta bleed, flip, remove the caliper, flip it over, kind of tap it, get all the air to the bleed screw, and then open it and then flip it back up, and basically have to use basically the gravity and all that to chase all the air out. So that's going to be a little bit of an effort. So I didn't torque everything down, I just kind of tighten it without really torquing down to spec. And we're going to make all that kind of its own video. Of course, I gotta leak check all the oil line that I done too, so I think that would just be a good video of buttoning everything up. But yeah, if you thank you guys for following. Sorry it took me a little bit to get this video out. It's been really cold here in the Midwest, and kind of not wanting to come out and work in the garage here. But I think we got a little bit more just to get this car up and running. And that's going to be it for the brake job video. Thank you guys for following, and check back for the next update.